This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined, as always, by Mr. Joe Markowski from Dazn. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you? Good to be speaking.
Yeah, I know you did a few calls the other day with Eddie talking to various media outlets, but we're doing our own thing now. So, yeah, I think ever since we've met and we've been doing interviews and talking, etc., it's a question that I've always put to you, and you've very professionally, reluctantly gave an answer, shall we say. But there was obviously stuff going on in the background to kind of lead to this moment for, more specifically for UK fans, and obviously now the link up, the exclusive link up with Matchroom. So, yeah, you must be very pleased that this is now over the line and this is the way forward now for you guys.
Yeah, look, it's been a long time coming. It's a conversation we've been having with Matchroom over a few months. I think it's sort of testament to a few things. One, the strength of our relationship with Eddie and Frank and the rest of the Matchroom boxing team. We've built a very strong partnership with them, obviously led out of the US, but also in Italy and Spain. It's also testament, I think, to how well we have collectively, that group, have come through the pandemic. I think the pandemic could have sent our boxing business and our business more generally one of two ways. As a business that relies on sporting events happening, people gathering for those sporting events to make our business, it was a massive shock to all of us. It was a massive stress on the business, but we used the opportunity, I think, really sensibly to reset a few things and refocus, particularly on boxing. We've had such a great 6 to 8 months over in the US in particular. We've had a great welcome from UK fans with the launch of our global platform. We've used the schedule, particularly the Canelo events and the Garcia Campbell event in January, to target UK fight fans. And as a result of that, the numbers out of the UK and that sort of initial semi-launch, I'd call it, via the global platform have been sort of final proof point we needed to go and do this deal with Eddie. So we're so excited about it. I think we're very bullish on the UK. There's such a passionate base of boxing fans there. Obviously now we have the premium content in the market, and it's just, I'm very proud. We're very proud as a business to be, bringing this, what we believe is a game-changing deal to British boxing fans and sports fans more generally. So yeah, we're really excited.
I mean, despite obviously what I referred to at the start of the interview of me kind of consistently asking you over the last kind of 2 or 3 years.
Nagging.
Yes.
Nagging, I'd say.
Nagging you about that. But when would you say kind of the wheels were put in motion, so to speak, to really get this deal done? Because I'm assuming it didn't happen overnight, and there's obviously a lot to consider, especially where Matchroom and Eddie Hearn were previously to this week. So there was a lot to do.
Yeah, look, a few things had to come together. One, we had to stabilise the relationship with Matchroom and the business in the wake of COVID. As I said, that could have gone one of two ways. That was the first thing. We reset and we delivered good numbers and good shows in the US. So that was the first bit. I think the second bit was us planning sort of, behind the scenes, lots of Excel spreadsheets and things that you'll roll your eyes about, right? It's us planning and making sure that the investment we were going to make was going to be economically sensible for us. We did that. We got ourselves into a position where we thought we could make a competitive offer to Sky, a very sensible offer from our perspective, which we did. And then it was about, the pitch to Eddie and to Frank and Barry, that this was the right deal for them. And I think the key bit of that, the money, of course, was competitive. It was sensible from our perspective, but I think that the key bit was the vision and the alignment on vision that we have and Matchroom have. We have a global outlook. We believe that boxing has huge potential to grow, and we believe that Eddie and the Matchroom team are the best people to help it grow. So our vision for the global growth of the sport, our vision for the global growth of our business aligns very nicely with Eddie's ambition for Matchroom. So I think, as well as money and numbers and giving Eddie what he needs to take things up a level, doing that in a sensible way from our perspective, but crucially delivering a vision and a partnership that excites both sides. I think that was the last bit, and that's all played out over probably the last 6 months. As I say, that December launching the global platform, Canelo Smith, big numbers, Garcia Campbell, big numbers in the UK, obviously showed that we optimized time zone wise for the UK. And then Canelo Billy Joe, extremely big numbers for us, despite the relatively antisocial start time. These are all the final sort of proof points that we needed to say, yeah, we want to do this deal. So course of 6 months, but crucial bit really was the alignment of what we want to take this sport to and take this sort of project and partnership to. So yeah, just 6 months, I'd say.
Well, one question I did ask Eddie, and maybe you can kind of offer your perspective into this. Obviously, Matchroom have been aligned with Sky Sports for a considerable amount of years, and kind of have built up an audience, built up a following due to kind of Sky's push across all platforms. And I asked Eddie, you know, with what you're doing now, how quickly do you think it will take you to, I'm not going to say take the audience from Sky, I'm not going to use that phrase, but kind of get the audience over to DAZN, whether they're watching that as well and watching DAZN. How long is that going to take? He doesn't seem to think that that's going to be an issue. He doesn't think that's going to be a problem because of what's behind him, what's sitting behind him in DAZN.
Yeah, a couple of things to say. First of all, I want to doff my cap to Sky Sports and the work they've done with Eddie and Matchroom and Barry previously over 25 odd years. What they've done for the sport of boxing, particularly in the last decade, is unbelievable. It's taken, and this is long before my time in the industry, let alone in boxing, taken boxing from leisure centres to arenas, and without Sky that wouldn't have happened. So that their investment, their commitment to boxing in the UK is something that we hugely respect and allows us in part to get to where we are today. So that's the first thing to say. On our business and our growth, look, I'm not going to sit here and say on day one we are going to be as big a juggernaut as Sky Sports are in the UK. That would be bollocks, frankly. It's not really the case. We have a business that is growing very fast. We have a different business to Sky. It's obviously digitally focused. It's exclusively digital. It's an OTT streaming platform. But we're not concerned by that reality. I look at the biggest events that have come into the UK in boxing this year. Canelo versus Saunders was a pure DAZN Matchroom promotion. There was no, established pay TV broadcaster associated with that. That was us. And that did huge numbers, equivalent numbers to what it would have done on any platform that's been around for 20, 30, 40 years, right? So we are very, very effective at marketing our events. We use different tactics. We have a different platform, but we're very efficient. We use our marketing money well. We've got great content that reaches fans. We do different things with that content. Example being our documentary around Canelo we distributed across the BBC. So we're going to be trying different tactics. We completely recognise the need for our business to grow the audience watching boxing. You've seen us do a number of things, KUGAN. We've had conversations about KSI Logan Paul. Why do we do that? One of the core reasons we did that was to grow the eyeballs watching boxing. It's one of a number of different things we'll do to do that. Our choice of talent team, how we distribute content off platform, the events we put on, pushing the promoter to make sure that fights that should happen, that fans want, happen when they should, and not in 3 or 4 years' time after 4 or 5 sort of avoidance fights. We want to elevate the sport of boxing, and I'm encouraged by the results we've had in the UK so far. There's not this huge gap between the audience that Sky would do and the audience that DAZN is doing already. And we haven't even properly launched yet with those events. So I'm not concerned by it. In fact, I think there's huge potential if we get our strategy right and we work with Matchroom in the right way to significantly grow the audience watching boxing. And we'll be doing a number of different things to make sure that happens as quickly as possible.
In an interview I did with Eddie Hearn a couple of weeks ago, when kind of speculation about Matchroom and his future was really gathering pace, one of the things that I suppose everyone did find interesting was Eddie Hearn stating about the involvement of Matchroom Media. So as a broadcaster, when a promoter says that they want that much input on production, what's the initial response? When you first heard that from Eddie, what is the first response to that?
I think it's interesting. Eddie's so passionate, and that whole group, Katie Hearn, who's in the lead Match Media, they're all so passionate about their shows and their content, and they want to make sure that they have their touch and their feel across the live production. For us, we've listened, and we're very proactive in listening to consumer feedback on everything around boxing, everything around the broadcast. We recognise that, and Eddie said this yesterday a few times, boxing fans in the UK are sometimes as passionate about the presentation team as they are about the fights and the matchmaking, right? Which is maybe a unique thing about British boxing fans, but it's a reality, and we hugely respect that. We've got a fantastic production business. We produce some of the world's biggest sporting events. But in the case of this deal, it was a non-negotiable. Eddie, from the word go, when we got into this conversation, was Matchroom Media, whoever we go with from a broadcast perspective, will be live producing the events. Now, they'll be doing that in very, very close collaboration with Dazn, and we have a very strong seat at the table in determining talent and commentators and presentation, look and feel, and budgets, etc., etc. But it was a non-negotiable. And look, ultimately, we respect Eddie's passion for it. He understands British boxing fans, although they're not always nice to him or appreciative of what he's done for them, which I quite enjoy watching. He understands them better than anyone, right? So it's on him ultimately now and his team to deliver world-class events. He's taken that responsibility in close collaboration with us. The plans, which we'll reveal next week, I mean, if the first sort of reveal of our production plans are anything to go by, I don't think fight fans have got anything to worry about. It's going to blow people's socks off next week when we announce some of the stuff we will. So really excited by that, and also a great opportunity for Katie Hearn, for Eddie to launch a new element of their business in Matchroom Media. So yeah, looking forward to getting going with all of that too.
How much input as such has Dazn got in choice of commentators and analysts, etc.? How much is it almost a case of if there was someone that was suggested that you weren't fond of or you didn't want, how does that go?
Well, that we have the ability to say we're not going to go with that person, and as the now only client of Eddie Hearn in the broadcast world globally, we have some leverage in that conversation. But it's a collaboration. It's an ongoing conversation between us and them. The great thing is, I come back to the vision. We share a view of how we want to run this partnership together, and there's very few areas where we disagree on things like that. So we want to engage the hardcore fans, give them a best-in-class talent team. We also want to use a newer breed of talent to engage, rebrand boxing a little bit, and take it to a new audience, to make it more accessible for people who perhaps don't watch as much boxing as we'd want them to long term. So all of that's with sort of the dual focus of serving the hardcores, giving them less and less reason to have a pop at Eddie on social media about it, whilst also growing the audience watching boxing in an open way. So you'll see that balance starting to be announced next week, and then the quality of the names on both sides of that are incredible. So the investment's there, the commitment's there, and I think the strategy is really aligned with what Eddie wants to do. So there's not been many sort of like headbutt moments coming together and clashing on that stuff, because, as I say, we share a vision for it.
Let's talk money. So obviously the introductory offer of $199, which you launched with Callum Smith and Canelo's fight back in December. Well, we're in June now, and that's still the price, which I'll be honest with you, I was surprised. I thought the change would have happened by now. But for the initial time being, we don't know how long that time frame is exactly. It will stay at that as that introductory offer. But Eddie Hearn has told me off camera how much the increase will go to. I don't think people can moan about it, to be honest with you, without kind of saying what it is. Do you want to make comment on that?
Well, first thing I'd say is Eddie shouldn't have done that. It's Eddie steering off brief, but that's one of the biggest challenges. Talk about like the shared vision. One of the hardest bits of this deal is going to be keeping Eddie on the brief we've given him, and he's been rolling his eyes at us in the last couple of days as we tried to do that. But look, we're not in a position already to announce that yet. We're still finalising it. There's a couple of things to say. I saw some of the comments yesterday saying, "Oh, after fight camp, it's going to go to $24.99. It's going to go to $19.99." No, it isn't. It's going to be a price point, whatever we end up going with, that is that fans will be very positively surprised by. And we've tested that. We're sure of that. It's not just my gut feel. It's definitely something that will positively surprise people. They'll be happy with it. I also, if you want evidence of why that's true, look at what we've done everywhere else in the world. In Japan, we are the #1 sports broadcaster, full stop. We've got all of the local content, including the local football leagues. In Italy, same. Serie A. In Germany, same. Bundesliga. And in all cases, we are lowering the cost of watching that content quite considerably relative to our competitors in the market and the previous owners of that content or holders of that content. Same in Canada, same in the US. Obviously, each market's different, price points are different, content offers different, but consistently, there is a philosophy around pricing that we've employed in all markets of the world. And I've been with Dazn since the very start. We founded Dazn on a set of principles about, one of which was democratizing sport. We think that pay TV traditionally over the last 20 or 30 years has pickpocketed consumers. It's taken way too much money from them. It's not just price, it's contracts. In some markets, you've got 24-month contracts with a pay TV provider. You have to commit to 2 years of your life to have access to the content. You can only get it in some countries on certain devices. Our whole philosophy as a business is about democratizing access to sports content. Price, platforms, no contract, very, very consumer friendly. So as we finalize our UK pricing plans, the speculation yesterday, all of it, having looked at it, is above well affordable price point. And we're very confident that UK boxing fans will be positively surprised by all of that and enjoy the experience, as they have been so far since we launched the global platform.
Just going back to initially what I was saying about Eddie Hearn telling me that, I think the reason why Eddie Hearn told me that is he knows I'm not going to go and put it out on Twitter.
Yeah, still naughty Eddie.
But listen, I think I saw some of the comments yesterday regarding what the jump will be whenever that is, and I think a lot of people are kind of a way off, and I think if that's what they're expecting, they'll be very pleasantly surprised. So
I agree. And look, I mean, for the moment, enjoy it. I mean, we've got Fight Camp coming up, a 3-week run. We've got an unrivaled schedule already. And I mean, even before we've launched KUGAN, we've had, I would say, the best schedule in boxing already. I mean, we've delivered 3 Canelo events in 5 months. We delivered Garcia Campbell at a time that was tailored for, and that was a massive fight. There's huge numbers for us in the UK, tailored for the UK audience. So already, before we even announced this and before we've even started our UK shows, we're delivering a world-class schedule. And for the moment, you can get that for £1.99. There's literally no barrier to entry for UK boxing fans. So obviously I'm slightly biased, but my advice to UK fight fans is join the party, give DAZN a try, and I'm sure, all things considered, including price, including flexibility, including the experience of the platform, the content offer on it, you're going to be pleasantly surprised. So give us a try.
A minimum of 16 UK shows a year. How do you, I'm going to try and word this as best as I can, how do you separate a pay-per-view type show from a regular show if it's all in the same bracket?
What we're going to do with this deal, and a key part of the negotiation here, was elevate the threshold at which a show becomes pay-per-view. And what that means is we are going to be delivering shows via the low-cost monthly subscription price that would in the previous world have been on pay-per-view. So shows that you usually would have had to spend 20 quid on will be available within that monthly subscription offer. We're going to reduce the number of shows that even are a conversation around pay-per-view. So that's part of the value here. I think Eddie said yesterday a number of times he's felt overly reliant on pay-per-view in the last few years. And that's obviously, we've watched the sort of discussion amongst your audience and the British boxing fan base more generally. It's prompted this conversation of this shouldn't be a pay-per-view. I think pay-per-view will always have a place in boxing for mega fights, for big fights. But in both the UK and the US, outside of Dazn, there's been an over-reliance on it. And frankly, in the case of the US, it's criminal. If you look at the next 6 to 8 to 10 weeks in the US, you've got 4 or 5 pay-per-view shows. If you're a boxing fan in the US, you know, as well as your $180, $200 a month cable bill to get all the sports channels to watch your content, including a load of boxing, you're being asked to pay 5 times $60, $70, $80. It's like, that's just ridiculous. It just reduces the number of people who watch boxing. The same has happened in the UK to a lesser extent. Obviously, the numbers are lower in terms of cost. We want to elevate that barrier. That threshold needs to go up so that there's a lighter number of pay-per-view shows and more value in the core boxing broadcast package. So that's what we're going to do. For the moment, there are no immediate plans to do any pay-per-view shows on Dazn. So our focus is on building out, and we'll announce this in the next couple of weeks. And you'll be there on the 14th of June when we do announce our initial schedule. Focus on delivering an unrivaled schedule that has no pay-per-views in it. So that is the plan. That is the focus. And it's all, as I say, it's part of our overall strategy, just to reduce the reasons for people who, reduce the number of reasons to not watch boxing.
Sorry, Joe, it's not an immediate issue, but I suppose up until a week ago, the AJ Fury situation would have been, if it had landed on your lap, a situation where that would have been outside of this $199 subscription, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, AJ is obviously a separate set of media rights, and as and when he's got one more fight with Sky, I imagine Freddie and 258 and Matchroom will come to the market, the broadcast market, after that fight for AJ's media rights going forward. We'll consider that. It's a completely separate conversation. But I can assure you, for the moment, there are no immediate plans of pay-per-view. I think pay-per-view's probably always got a place in boxing. It's needed given the rising cost of certain purses. But from our perspective, it's about elevating the threshold at which a show becomes pay-per-view. And in doing so, reducing the number of pay-per-view shows in a given year. And in doing so, reduce the cost of watching boxing, full stop.
I did again ask Eddie Hearn about Anthony Joshua's situation, and he did say to me that an announcement will be made soon. But I'm assuming you've obviously worked with Anthony Joshua previously, that's something you'll be looking to do as well, moving forward.
There's an AJ fight in the summer at some point. I think obviously Usyk is the likely opponent, obviously the mandatory. We're disappointed, I'll be honest, with how the whole AJ Fury stuff played out. As fans, more than anything, it's a real shame that boxing allows that to happen. But hey ho, it's the reality of where we are right now. For the fight with Usyk, obviously that's the last fight under AJ's existing deal with Sky, so we won't be a factor in that in the UK. But internationally, we'll have a conversation when that fight's made, and we've been carrying his shows very successfully outside of the UK and Ireland for some time. So I expect that to continue. As I say, domestically, at the right time, when 258, when Matchroom, when AJ himself is ready to have that conversation, clearly will be an interested party. But those conversations haven't happened yet.
Okay. Joe, can you answer me something, actually? Because I was wondering it about myself. Is Dazn available on a Sky Planner?
So in terms of where we're available, we are available on, I'd say 99.9% of the screens that you have in your life, right? So you're sat, it looks like you've got dressed up for it in your living room with a I'm sure a 68-inch TV on your wall somewhere behind you.
This is my
okay. We're on all of those big smart TVs. We're on PlayStations, we're on Xboxes, we're on any device you could plug in to your TV, Apple TV, Fire Stick, Roku, Chromecast. We've got our app on all of those and very easily accessible. We're also on, as I say, web, on iOS, on Android. Anywhere you've got a screen, you can watch it. As we've now announced our deal in the UK, our teams can now go and have conversations with the likes of Sky and with BT and anyone who's got a set-top box, basically, to discuss embedding our app and our content on their platforms. We've done that in all other markets that we've launched, and obviously we can't have those conversations until we've announced a launch in a market. So we can now do that. Our teams will do that, and that will lead to us increasing the distribution of where DAZN's available. We haven't made deals yet because we announced this 24 hours ago. So yeah, as and when those deals are ready to be announced, we'll announce them. But we're definitely looking to do it because, again, it's part of us making DAZN more accessible and easier to access. So I'm very confident we'll be embedding DAZN in more and more places, making it more and more accessible in the coming weeks and months.
That's good to hear, because me myself, I would like, if it was on like a, whether it is whatever set-top box you got, a Sky Q, whatever it is, it would.
Yeah, but KUGAN, even before we do that, it's not difficult. Despite your voice memos to me on WhatsApp about your various customer services questions, that you'd rather go through me on rather than our customer services team, which I enjoy on a Saturday morning of a fight. They sorted out.
They sorted out very promptly. It was on within like 10 minutes. Go on.
Not that there was any real issue there, just to reassure your audience. But even now, before we do those, new and more deeply embedded distribution deals on those platforms that you've mentioned, it's not like DAZN's difficult to find. In fact, it's very, very easy to find and use wherever you want to watch it. So there's not going to be a group of people who are frustrated on a Saturday evening not being able to find DAZN to watch it where they want to watch it. It's available very, very easily and in very, very high quality, very, very stable, everywhere you could possibly want to watch it. So it's only going to get better, but the starting point is very strong as well.
Okay, well, listen, it's a move we kind of expected to come. It's finally been announced, but say expected to come. It just the rumor mill was doing its circuit, shall we say, over the last.
Sources had revealed, right?
Sources, yes. But yeah, it's a new chapter for yourselves, a new chapter for Matchroom and excuse me, Eddie Hearn, etc. So yeah, we'll start off with Fight Camp and long may it continue.
Yeah, listen, and the reason we're launching in the UK, the reason we made this deal is because of the passion, the support that we've had and boxing has from fans in the UK. So we want to thank your audience, the fans, for that. It's really exciting for us. It allows us to get to this point. We are, as I say, I keep saying, so excited by it. I think it's game-changing for our business, game-changing for Matchroom's business, but more importantly, and most importantly, it's a game-changing offer and opportunity for fight fans to see the sport they love elevated in a number of different ways. So looking forward to getting into it and looking forward to seeing fans back at shows very, very quickly, very, very soon, I should say.
Just one more question, actually, while I remember, Joe. How much of an impact or not did the Premier League rights situation have in all this with Matchroom and Eddie?
Look, well, a couple of things to say. Obviously, we're a multi-sport broadcaster. I think sometimes in the UK, given how regularly Eddie is in the media and how often he is speaking about DAZN, there's a perception that we're a boxing broadcast business. That's sort of testament to how loud a mouth Eddie Hearn has. It's not the case. I mean, obviously, we have a major commitment to boxing, now British boxing, but it's only a portion of our business. In most of the markets I mentioned earlier, we're led by football, by soccer, as my friends over here would say. In Canada, we're led by NFL content, by Premier League content, by UEFA Champions League content. So we have a big football business and a big football investment. Our plans in any market are to become a multi-sport broadcaster because that makes our business healthier. It makes our business grow quicker. But for the moment, that's not our focus. What will happen down the line? Well, obviously, we're eyes open and ears open to opportunities from content owners of all different shapes and sizes in the UK now. But it's not our focus for the moment. We are very happy and very confidently stepping into the UK with a focus on boxing because of the size of the UK audience and how well we know we can do with that content on its own. So what will come will come. But for the moment, we're very, very happy to be stepping in with what we've got, which is premium boxing content and it makes us the global home of boxing, the home of boxing in the UK. You can't really question that, and that for the moment is what we're focused on.
Okay, well, Joseph, we will look forward to a formal announcement on the Monday, the 14th of June.
I'll see you there.
In the back garden. And yes, I mean, some of the plans for Fight Camp look very, very exciting. So, yeah, 3 back-to-back weeks to launch.
Yeah.
Good.
It's going to be a good summer. Appreciate it, KUGAN. Speak very soon.
Joe, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.